Ladies, young ladies, and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Once again, you are welcome here on the Éveil des Consciences platform. In international news, Iran has just signed a comprehensive strategic partnership with Russia. And on the Western side, there is panic, more specifically on the side of the United States of America. You know that Russia, which they tried to isolate, is now expanding its influence. Russia is increasing its allies, the number of its allies. And these alliances are now being built on real legal and military foundations. We remember that last year, Russia signed a pact with North Korea. As part of this pact, there is the principle of mutual assistance in the event of aggression. But with North Korea, they started with a simple treaty. This time with Iran, they have also started with a treaty. Today, May 21st, 2025, the Iranian parliament has therefore ratified the cooperation treaty, the Comprehensive Strategic Cooperation Treaty. And the Western countries are panicking, but they find comfort in the fact that when you look at the details of the pact, of the treaty, I should say, since the treaty is different from the pact, when you look at the details, you see that for now, they have not mentioned the issue of mutual assistance. They have not mentioned it. So the Western countries are consoling themselves with that. But what they forget is that Russia is very cunning. Russia first sends out the small pawns, and then Russia moves onto a surprising action. So, what is in the content of this agreement? What exactly is it about? And so, according to official information, ladies and gentlemen, the Iranian parliament ratified this Wednesday a comprehensive 20-year strategic partnership treaty. It will last 20 years. 20 years between Iran and Russia. And this pact, this comprehensive strategic partnership treaty, aims to strengthen the political, military, and economic ties between the two countries. The political, military, and economic ties between the two countries. So, the treaty is based on 3 strategic pillars. But the most important strategic pillar is the military aspect. We are already aware of Iran's commitment to Russia. I don't need to remind you, maybe just for those who are new, that Iran has already supplied Russia with many weapons as part of the special military operation in Ukraine. And Iran hasn't stopped there. Iran has transferred expertise, technologies, and even the manufacturing patent for Shahed drones, which is a very significant brand in the eyes of Iranians and Western people alike. Because it is a missile, it's a drone, I should say, a truly formidable one. So, what should be noted is that last April, Russian lawmakers had already ratified this agreement, which provides for increased cooperation between Moscow and Tehran to address common security threats. So last April, they had already ratified the agreement. But for it to be officially adopted, that happened today. So, according to the information we have at the moment, this agreement is not, however, a defense pact. It is not a defense pact. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video conference, this is what reassures the Europeans. It is not a mutual defense pact like the one signed last year between Russia and North Korea. It is not a mutual defense pact. But how did the mutual defense pact between Russia and North Korea come about? How? For all those who have been following me here from the beginning, we have already discussed this, we have analyzed it Russia had already signed treaties with North Korea before taking things further. You know, in state relations, you have to proceed step by step. Where they went so far as to sign a treaty, valid for 20 years, it shows that they have major ambitions for military cooperation. That's why it's important to remind Westerners that they are making a mistake. The Westerners are mistaken. They are wrong. They don't even need to comfort themselves because the Mutual Defense Pact will come into being, and very soon. However, the document stipulates that if one of the parties is the victim of aggression, the other must not provide assistance to the aggressor. That's how it starts. If, for example, Iran is attacked by the United States of America, Russia will not intervene militarily, but Russia must not provide assistance to the United States of America. So what exactly does assistance mean in this context? What exactly is this assistance? Prohibition of assistance. This means if one of the countries is attacked, both countries are considered to be attacked. It's just that the other cannot intervene militarily. But sanctions, and in any case, everything that follows. If America attacks Iran and Russia continues to trade with America, that would mean Russia is helping America finance its war effort against Iran. So, this assistance that they haven't defined says a lot, a whole lot. Now, the treaty also provides for strengthened military cooperation between Iran and Russia. Which are two countries targeted by Western sanctions. So they need to strengthen their cooperation to enable them to deal with Western sanctions. And these are countries that share a common desire to counter what they describe as hegemony. Yes. So that's the main point. But one of the most important aspects is that Western countries accuse Iran of having supplied drones and short-range missiles to Russia for its conflict in Ukraine. The text also aims to strengthen economic and political ties between Moscow and Tehran, particularly in the areas of energy, finance, and especially in this fight against terrorism. So, here's what needs to be said. But it should be noted that this agreement to strengthen economic and political cooperation had already been signed in January. So they had signed smaller agreements. This time they've put everything together as a whole. What does this show? That in the coming days they might say, all right, let's move towards mutual defense. Just like Article 5 of the NATO Charter. So whatever happens, there is panic, there is danger at hand. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top story of the news. So please share it as much as possible. I'll be back with more news for you shortly. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.